Staying with this matter, we're going to continue the conversation now. For more on the matter, Umkhonto Wesizwe Party's urgent application at the Constitutional Court. Let's bring in Executive Secretary of the Council for the Advancement of South African Constitution, Lawson Naidoo, joins us online via Teams. Lawson, good morning. Thank you for your time at the SABC at this hour.
Thank you.
Lawson, we've just spoken to our reporter, senior reporter Kanima Panga. We're trying to obviously ascertain the possibilities and probabilities at this point. Talk to us about whether the matter is urgent, what the MK party's argument is, the likelihood, the prospects of them winning as well at this point.
Yeah, thank you. So, the Constitutional Court is not really designed to hear urgent matters. It's the High Courts that have that responsibility to hear matters on an urgent basis. There's, a judge that's assigned to hear urgent matters in the High Courts. So, the chances of the Constitutional Court hearing this matter in the next 48 hours are extremely slim. But that then takes us on to the merits of the case, and this is a really frivolous application. It's devoid of really any legal argument, substantive legal argument that compels the jurisdiction of the Constitutional Court, and I would expect that the court will dismiss the application without a hearing. The application is dressed up in the form of an interpretation of Section 46, which you've just discussed on air, and Section 46 is clearly about the electoral system that we have. It has already been determined that the National Assembly is comprised of 400 members. That is the basis on which the recent election was conducted. We voted for 400 members of the National Assembly, 200 from the 9 regional ballots, and 200 from the compensatory party list. So we've known that all along. That is it. The quorum for Friday, as Kenny said just now, is 133. So that's a really weak legal argument. And then the other arguments that are made, or assertions that are made, I should rather say, are that there were electoral irregularities and so on. And the proper course for MK Party or any other party that was aggrieved about how the election was conducted was to firstly lodge objections with the Electoral Commission, which over 570 were lodged the previous weekend. They were dealt with by the Electoral Commission before the results were declared. And if parties were still dissatisfied, they had the option of appealing that decision to the Electoral Court, and they had to do that within 72 hours, which means that they missed that deadline, which was last Wednesday. So they're now trying to bring an application through the back door to the Constitutional Court, and I certainly don't see any prospects of success whatsoever.
Lawson, thank you for speaking to that. Just about, the IC making an announcement of the election results, given the disputes that had come to the fore, and so you have addressed that. I wonder if we could just look at MK not going to Parliament at this point. The numbers needed, which you alluded to, Kenny also alluded to elect, the Speaker, the President. Talk to us about the processes unfolding on that front and how that may be affected. What impact is this also going to have on Parliament sitting at large and the election of officials?
Yeah, well, I think it may be useful, Liesl, to start with the proceedings on Friday. So the start of the proceedings will be the Chief Justice who presides. That's Chief Justice Zondo. He will administer the oath or solemn affirmation to all of those members that have been elected to the National Assembly. They will take that oath or affirmation, and once that process is complete, the House will then move on to its business of the day, and the business of the day is the election of the Speaker, the President, and then the Deputy Speaker in that order. And the quorum that is required for that sitting, it's the ordinary business of the National Assembly, so it requires a quorum of 133 members, and a decision is taken by the majority of those members present and voting. So, the absence of the MK Party's 58 members will have no effect on that process. The Parliament can still proceed with its business. And in fact, even if all the political parties, with the exception of the ANC, were to be present, the ANC's 159 members on their own constitutes a quorum for the National Assembly. So I really don't see how anybody boycotting Friday's sitting will have an impact on the outcome.
Lawson, what about, MK parties, MPs that need to be sworn in? I mean, can this also occur at a later stage if they do decide to boycott Friday's first National Assembly sitting? Talk to us about that reality on the ground as well.
Yeah, that's very possible that they can be sworn in at a later stage. There may be other MPs who are not able to come to Cape Town on Friday for whatever reason, and they will have an opportunity to be sworn in at a later stage. It's unlikely that it will be in the presence of the Chief Justice, but he will appoint somebody else to administer the oath on his behalf. So that's something that can follow in the days and weeks to come.
Lawson, you did allude to this earlier on. I just wanted to unpack the prospects of the success of the application, given the irregularities that had been cited. But also, if we're going to talk about the timing of this, I also asked Canny this. Just, the timing of it, given the number of applications before the Constitutional Court and the timing that is at stake for this matter to be entertained and the judgment to be handed down. What are the possibilities and probabilities at this point?
Well, as I said, extremely low in my view, and the reason being that what the MK party are asking the court to do is rather extraordinary, is to interdict the National Assembly from proceeding with its business that is constitutionally mandated. The Constitution says that within 14 days of the results being declared, Parliament must convene. Must do certain things such as the election of Speaker and Deputy Speaker. And what is the basis on which the MK is bringing this application? Well, we've dealt with the Section 46 issue. Yes. The other issues relate to their allegations that there were irregularities or vote rigging in the process, but they've not brought forward before the court an iota of evidence. They say they have tons of it, but they don't want to burden the court with that. So on what basis is the court expected to take such an extraordinary decision to interdict a sitting of the National Assembly without having any evidence whatsoever presented to it? So this is a classic case where I think the Constitutional Court can summarily dismiss this application, and if costs are incurred, to award costs against the MK party, should any of the parties that are cited in the case file papers in response.
Lawson, thank you for your time on the SABC at this hour. We'll leave that conversation there for now and continue to monitor developments. Executive Secretary of CASIC, Lawson Naidoo, weighing in. We do know that Umkhonto Wesizwe party is trying to block the National Assembly's first sitting. The party has filed an application to the effect at the Constitutional Court. That, of course, set to be heard on Friday.